last week we ended with the explanation of the terms personal treasure of kingdom of priests and holy nation. And I said that the kingdom of priests and the holy nation show the goal and purpose of the Sinai covenant. So that was what we ended last week with. So we want to continue tonight. And so if you take your Bibles and turn to Exodus chapter 19, we're continuing with the Mosaic covenant, and so you remember that when we talked about kingdom of priests and holy nation, that I said that they're parallel phrases, and they function as a pair, and really what they're doing is they're showing what it means to be a treasured possession by God. Treasured possession by God is a kingdom of priests and a holy nation. And so the kingdom of priests, you recall, it just simply means that God is extending his rule through the covenant with Abraham and through promising blessings to the nations with his covenantal family, Israel. So that's what kingdom of priests mean. That God is extending his rule through the covenant with Abraham and promising blessings through the nations through the covenant with his family Israel. So that's one side of those parallel phrases that function as a pair. The other is holy nation, and it means that one is prepared and consecrated. To be holy is to be consecrated for fellowship with God and completely devoted to him. So that simply is a précis of what we talked about the last couple of weeks. And the explanation of God's treasured possession as a kingdom of priests and holy nation explains it's the goal and the purposes of the Mount Sinai covenant. So that's the goal and the purpose of the covenant that we're looking at. That God's people would be in covenantal relationship with him to represent the nations to him and to represent him to the nations. It's a kingdom of priests. And then, as a holy nation, consecrated to God, being devoted only to him. And you recognize that Israel at this time is different from all of the other nations in the world. And so what is one of the ways that they're different from all the other nations of the world? We were talking about it in relationship to kingdom last week. They are a kingdom of priests, but whose kingdom are they in?
God.
Yeah, so Israel is not ruled by an earthly king. They're ruled by God. How else are they different from the other nations? Okay, so as we come to the stipulations or the commands of the covenant, which we're going to start to look at tonight, we're going to see that Israel is different from all the other nations because they're monotheistic, one God. And the central thing with Israel is this. It's Deuteronomy 6:4, which is called the Shema. And it was a prayer that Israel said, repeated. And the prayer started like this. In the time of Jesus, they would start their day and they would end their day with this prayer. Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God, the Lord is one. That's monotheism.
Yes.
That's very important because that's the distinguishing mark. The nations around about are homotheistic, which means many gods, and Israel is monotheistic. So what we've seen so far in Exodus 19, verses 1 to 6, is that the status of Israel is to be a special treasured possession. So they're special to God, they're a treasured possession. And the role to be a priestly and holy community is their function in the context of the nations roundabout. Okay? So we referred to First Peter chapter 2 several times, but I just want to take you there before we go into the covenant stipulations tonight, which we are going to begin. And would somebody read for us? Maybe Jack will read for us. Can you read, Jack? Can you read? Can you listen? Good. Okay, so you listen, and maybe what we'll do, you said you could read, Audrey. Would you like to look at Daddy's Bible and try to read those verses if he points his fingers at the words? Did you say uh-huh?
Yeah.
Okay, very good.
What do you want to do?
So we're reading First Peter chapter 2. Show her the name up at the top where it says 1 Peter. Show her number 2 for the chapter, and then show her